Welcome to the bold analysis, ladies and gentlemen. Senator Edwin Sifuna and Kiharu Member of Parliament Sifuna-Nyoro today descended on President William Ruto and his close associates who have been roaming around the country, reminding us about either shoot to kill or shoot to injure. And today, we are going to unpack Unman Sifuna. I have been asking why actually he was silent. So today, we are going to look into this deeply. But before that, I still want to request you to reach out to support our mission here, to support this mission in Embu. We are supporting this gentleman who was shot in the leg during Mandamano and is supposed to undergo grafting, which I had promised him that we are going to help foot part of the bill tomorrow so that they can proceed with that. He was actually shot, and as he describes, he says, actually he was shot mistakenly.
Polisi walikuwa huyo askari alikuja alikuwa amekimbisha mtu. Sasa wakati amekimbia akaingia kwa mplot. Huyo polisi akakuja akaniona. Niona akaniambia nishuke ama nishuti. Sasa nikaanza kushuka, nilikuwa nateremka, nimesikia risasi ngumu naanguka kwa maji. So 6 nilikuwa nimeamka.
And apart from that, the big mission in Embu is to build a house for this mother of 3, Faith Wambui. Faith Wambui is living somewhere and actually is currently stranded somewhere in the middle of a bush here. It's a bushy environment here in Embu. And living there with the children in such a in such a very bad state in that bad structure. If you look around, the mother of 3 suffered a condition after she gave birth to the last-born child, became very hopeless and stranded, and only resorted that place. She actually went to that place to stay after even the husband disappeared. And now she's been forced to stay there for some time. So when we arrived, we found out how that house was looking, and I can tell you, I was shaken. And I think I've helped people. We've done projects building houses for people. But if you look at where Njeri was staying, it is not even safe. I can tell you, today we're even talking with the area, and they're saying she actually undergoes some abuses just because of the state. It's not even secure. And he lives in that place. Kama hiyo nyumba iko hivyo, hata chakula ni shida. And we saying we are going to turn around, because that is why God brought us here, so that we can put up a house for her. I'm putting my hope that if we can do probably 100 bob challenge, just tuko wengi hapa, if we can do even donate at least 100 bob shillings, we'll be able to put up a house for this lady. I am going to camp here in Embu until hiyo nyumba isimame nijengwe nimemaliza, ndio nitatoka. And I'll make sure it is accomplished. Kidogo kidogo hujaza kibaba. Usione ni kidogo, hiyo umepata. Whatever you can. I want to believe we can build a house, we can buy for her a mattress na kitanda, and also do a very good shopping budget for her as we find out what she can do. In the meantime, my team are still spending time with her, find out what she can do. Kuna the young girl who also had some issues, pia aliweza kupelekwa hospitali. Alikuwa na some anasikia vidonda kwa kichwa. Sio huyo pia tuliweza kupeleka hospitali today. So I really hope that our mission here is going to be a big success. And I want to say thank you, because I believe it is possible. You can reach out hata kama uko area, wewe unataka kunipatia bricks, unataka kunipatia simiti, whatever we are doing, we are just doing a 2-bedroom, permanent 2-bedroom house. So you can understand really the budget we need for that. But due to that environment, na pia kwa peke yake, we just wanted to do a very good structure kama ile tulijengea Virginia. Now, so kindly support this. We are doing the challenge. Sifuna has been missing. And I did analyze here that when the ODM leader Raila Odinga was issuing a press briefing in Serena, the Serena press briefing is where ODM was actually proposing some conclave or some sort of dialogue. And I even saw Raila Odinga meeting today with Gaucho somewhere. I don't know why Raila still hangs around with Gaucho. Somewhere. Where this meeting, the press briefing in Serena, Sifuna, who is the spokesperson of the party, was conspicuously missing. And then the country was asking how ODM is genuinely asking for this issue of dialogue or that sort of conclave. But today, the Belgut Member of Parliament, Nelson Koech, shocked the country when he faced the cameras and said that those, instead going back to the words of Murkomen, that they should not be shooting legs to injure and actually shoot to kill. And on this note, let me tell you, Wahome Thuku have shared the story of a boy from Nanyuki, I think Nanyuki Nyaru. Let me just look at that story. Yes, there is a story of this boy was shot in the leg during the protest. And if you can look at that video, if you can look at this video, you can see it actually shows how he was shot. And questions are really emerging as to, was he really a threat? And when the president was saying shooting in the leg, he thought shooting in the leg is injury. But do you know shooting in the leg can actually kill? This boy has been confirmed dead today. Was shot in, I think this is Nyahururu or Nanyuki, one of these towns. So he was shot kwa mguu. Today, he has been confirmed dead. So this person saying that shoot in the leg, president wants to make it looking shooting in the leg a lesser sin. Is actually doctors are saying it's very dangerous. Do you know even Rex was shot in the leg? Do you know? And so today, Sifuna told the president, when should you wait for 2027 to remove you from power if you are already eliminating those voters? You know, and there was a very big encounter between Sifuna and Cherargei in the Senate. A very important question.
Speaker, we are not discussing personalities. We are discussing our money. The Senator for Narok, Honorable Speaker, came from a time when he was hosting the president in his county. So he came back and told us, oh, we have been given an airport in Narok. The contractors are there day and night. So one time I had been given a lift by a friend of mine. We were coming from somewhere in Western. I said, I want to see this airstrip in Narok that has a contractor day and night. So I asked the pilot to fly over that space. Honorable Speaker, there is a plaque sitting there. There are no contractors there. That young man called Morara has gone around the whole country, has shown us. Even when you go to the so-called stadium in Wote, if you go to Kamarin Stadium, you will find those plaques there. Honorable Speaker, we cannot have these gatekeepers of the executive in the legislature. You do your job, let him do his job. So, Honorable Speaker, when he was going, Honorable Speaker, can you protect me from this head club?
Senator Chigray Onda, kindly.
No. Honorable Speaker, do you know?
Of order are not making sense now.
Honorable Speaker, there is.
Senator Chalagay, can you allow?
You know, when you are used to using matatus, have you ever been in a chopper? You can see.
No.
Honorable Speaker, protect me from
Senator
this.
Chalagay. Senator Chalagay, I'm giving you the first warning this afternoon. I'm giving you the first warning. No point of order.
Honorable Speaker, please.
let Senator Sifuna be in silence.
Thank you.
To conclude his...
Honorable Speaker, so the point that I was making, Honorable Speaker, is that those plaques with names of either projects that have been started or concluded should bear the same sign that I told you about, the Road Maintenance Levy Fund. It should say, your taxes have built this stadium in Wote. Your taxes have built this stadium in Kamarin, which doesn't exist, by the way. Honorable Speaker, let me conclude by commenting on something he said. And I was very quiet when he spoke, so I hope he will be quiet too. Honorable Speaker, as a responsible government, you cannot tell us to wait for you to face you in 2027, and you are killing us today. Albert Ojwang is in the ground. He will not be able to meet William Ruto in 2027. So if we stopped, all of us, if all of us agreed, all of us should agree.
Senator
all of us
Sifuna,
should agree.
Senator
Honorable
Sifuna,
Speaker, please don't stop me.
You are now contravening standing on the
Now
121.
the Speaker himself is interrupting me.
Standing on the 121. I gave a ruling, I gave you guidance. You know you cannot do elections in the Senate. We don't do elections in the Senate. So avoid mentioning names of state officers. I warned you. I cautioned you. That is the first caution again, understanding on the 121.
Very well, Honorable Speaker.
And you know the consequences.
Very well, Honorable Speaker. Very well, Honorable Speaker. What I'm saying is this. All of us must agree that if decisions are being made democratically at an election, can we guarantee that all of us get to that election? Because you can't tell me to wait for you at the ballot and then you make sure I don't get there. Is Albert Ojwang supposed to vote from the grave? There's no such polling station. So when you talk about a state officer standing up and saying you can shoot people, as if people don't die from gunshot wounds. Honorable Speaker, we saw Rex Masai, the young man who was killed during the protest, was shot in the leg. So how can you tell people to shoot people in the leg as if those injuries are sustainable injuries? So, Honorable Speaker, we want to make it very clear that as a country, we have totally lost our way. And we will not have a conversation with someone telling us to wait for 2027 when he's not giving us a chance to get to 2027. He has become an existential threat for this country, and he must go as soon as possible. I thank you.
Senator Wakili Hilali.
Thank you. Why do we need to have you as the president to 2027? How are we going to remove you in 2027 if you are already eliminating us? And he was given an example of now these ones who have died. Are they going to vote in 2027? Are we reducing the number of votes? You know, I paid attention to this because his party leader, Raila, throughout the month has been cheering the president and Kenya Kwanza, lecturing the country the way 2027 election is coming, and of course amplifying the narrative of anarchists. Raila's handlers have been all over social media amplifying the narrative of anarchists. And by the way, someone have just told me that the bloggers, the pro-Raila bloggers who are now more mouthy and now too vocal in the online spaces are actually angling for jobs, and probably they've been told the louder you defend the government, the higher your chances of getting a job. And by the way, if that is what it takes, then I think I will never get a government job, because it's sometimes just right to remain within the lines of the truth. So I wanted you to look at that. This is what it is. And Sifuna is asking a question. Why should we have you if you're actually eliminating us? I realized the young voices are joining the public in demanding accountability. Sifuna-Nyoro has two questions. That's today. He has only two questions. When roads were barricaded by police and people are being moved to cause mayhem, How did they overcome the police barricades to arrive at the places where they caused mayhem? Number two, did the state, the government of Kenya is invested in the intelligence? And they have big intelligence, a lot of investment, 50 billion in intelligence. Did the intelligence know of what was going to happen? And why didn't they stop it?
Are giving government 50 billion Kenya shillings for intelligence gathering alone. And therefore, kama serikali haikujua kulikuwa na mambo kama hayo, then they have no business calling themselves government. Kama mulijua intelligence ilionyesha, kwa nini mambo ilifika hapo? The government of Kenya spent over 200 billion Kenya shillings on internal security alone. Kama nimeondoa defense. If the government cannot protect the lives and the property of the people of Kenya, while we give them 200 billion Kenya shillings to do that work, then kazi yenu ni gani? Juzi tumeona mtu mkubwa mmoja ya serikali ati anaenda kuangalia ile mambo imeharibika pale Nairobi. Na kwa sababu wametunisha akili ya Wakenya sana, ati anaenda anasema hii supermarket imeibiwa, na yeye mwenyewe akaweka IDs kama 50. Where did we ever see this? Going into a supermarket, wanachukua vitu katika supermarket, wanajiandikisha ati na wanaacha ID. Mmeona hiyo maneno ile? I have heard the governor of Kajiado confessing the people who meted mayhem in the towns in Kajiado County are not locals. The people of Nakuru, they are very eloquent on the fact that wale watu walichoma Nakuru sio watu wa Nakuru. Pale Kirinyaga, wale watu walifanya hizo jambo sio watu wa Kirinyaga. Hapa Murang'a tunajuana karibu sisi wote, hapa Murang'a town. Wale watu walifanya hizo maneno sio watu wa Murang'a. The government is squarely responsible for either omission or commission. Na mwacha tupea Wakenya tusitone mingi kila wakati. We can see through the lies. We can see through, and we know for sure either the government was involved or it abetted those crimes and criminalities. Siku ya Monday ni serikali peke yake ilikuwa inalinda mabarabara zetu zote. Kama ni serikali ililinda mabarabara, wale walipita kuchoma mali ya watu, walipita wapi? Walipita wapi? Some of the narratives being crafted are crafted using government machinery, using government resources, both human resources and military resources. Na pesa ya Wakenya hatutakubali itumike ati serikali yenyewe ndio inaleta narratives za kugawanya Wakenya. Kama mtu anataka watu wagawanyike, aende agawanye kwake, sio kwa Wakenya. Kenya will continue to remain a cohesive country. Na kama kuna kiongozi anaona they can only thrive by dividing Kenyans along lines of where they come from, tunataka kukuambia siasa hiyo ya upuzi ni siasa ya kitambo. And the responsibility ya kulinda mali ya Wakenya, responsibility ya kulinda maisha ya Wakenya is not in civilians' hearts. Tunalipa serikali pesa ilinde Wakenya. Tunalipa serikali pesa to continue uniting Kenyans. We cannot afford to feed the government that continues to divide Kenyans, to segregate other Kenyans, and to make mayhem on the people of Kenya. We can see through your eyes, and we are not going to succeed. Asanteni sana.
I want us to listen to that. This question of intelligence formed the ground on which Rigathi Gachagua was impeached. And Rigathi has been consistent. In fact, in his last press briefing before flying to the US, a tour I am really going to cover, I'm paying attention, I did not cover him leaving the AKA. But of course, in our first video, when you get the first engagement, I'm really following up that, and we are going to piece up a very good podcast so that we pay attention to what Rigathi Gachagua is going to achieve in the US. So, Rigathi even blamed NIS. Remember the video of Subarus making their way to Rongai? According to Rigathi Gachagua, he's actually saying that those are not DCI. Remember, Subarus are associated with the DCI. And according to Rigathi, those are not DCIs. Those are NIS guys that have procured those Subarus. And those Subarus are procured ordinarily just to be used for that purpose. That those Subarus have been procured solely to be used for the purpose of making sure that that they're disguised as NIS. And according to him, he says that that unit was formed when he was still in government. These voices, you realize that the young voices, young parliamentarians and leaders are slowly moving out of their political cocoons to try to associate with the dominant voices in the street. And this is why I think President William Ruto's reckless handling of dissent is going to cost Kenya Kwanza. And I'm using the word reckless intentionally because he's failed to go reconciliatory. Sometimes it's not all the time you fight. Sometimes you just need to let go and tone down. He's giving his opposition, political opponents, reasons to converge, even if they don't agree. He's day by day, the president is making Kenya Kwanza be the enemy and the leader of Kenya Kwanza be the enemy. So Sifuna-Nyoro, Rigathi, Matiang'i, Peter Munya, they might not be agreeing on ideology, but the president is uniting them. I can tell you. The president is uniting them against, because even if you want to associate, I'm asking to date, the game of people in government, when state officers take to the microphone to attack a community, you see ODM MPs going to social media to attack this, that. How do they feel? How do they feel? I really wonder, for example, even Ichungwa, even Wahome, P.S. Washira, there are so many people there. How do you feel when people in the same rank, like parliamentarians, going to social media and attacking a tribe? I've always wondering. And I think it's a bad message. Now, the second issue is this. The second danger of this reckless handling of dissent is they are sustaining hate messages on himself. In fact, he's sustaining hate messages on himself. For example, giving those orders, when he goes to public to say, shoot in the leg, then the next morning, an MP from his backyard picks it up, says, in fact, shoot to kill. The president himself is going to public to give orders, policy in public. In fact, I'm just wondering, even if he thinks that is the thing, why must you go to public and speak it in public? Why don't you have a memo in junior and your police ranks and give those orders? Say, this is what I think you guys should do. Shoot, don't shoot to kill. In fact, when the president says don't shoot to kill, there is no difference. Shooting is shooting. Hata ukishtua hii mkono unaweza bleed ukufe. If you shoot someone who is having an underlying condition, or do you think the gun is going to decide this person has diabetes, I should not shoot, this person has cancer, I should not shoot, this person... with this issue of shooting, you cannot dictate who's going to die and who's not going to die. Sometimes you shoot people in very remote places that they spend hours, they bleed for hours before even they arrive to the nearest facility. So I think the president's statement on this shooting is a bit not well thought out. Not well thought out. And you can see his juniors and his allies picking it up and really building a mountain from it. Now, Mount Kenya isolation narrative is unsettling. And even those who have little respect for him is ripping that out. And I think battering the Mount Kenya economy has a big ripple effect. And that is why you've heard Sifuna-Nyoro asking, why should we pay taxes? I've seen that, why should we continue paying taxes if the taxes are not working for us? and technically asking, should we boycott then paying taxes if that is the direction? So we need to arrest the situation. I strongly believe, I still hold the president must pick the reconciliatory language. Any other, this combative language is not the ideal approach for this situation. Because the country is bleeding, we need to fix ourselves, what we need to do, and he is the father of the nation. You know, he is the father of the nation. He must tone down. Kurudi chini aimanishi uoga is not going to change the fact that he's president. I strongly believe so. Thank you.